Battery says it's still just fine. Oh, stupid thing.
Alright, whatever.
You can go again. Okay, so, compiling. Yeah, it's not day 11.c, it's capitalized .c.
Well, thank you. That explains that. Did I capitalize?
You can call it whatever you want for the output, but the input needs to be exactly what you called it, so lowercase capitalized. Dream on. The command line is fairly inflexible when it comes to such things. Okie dokie. All kinds of errors. Yes. So what do we got?
Error and string.
Back blah before blah. Line 7. Where's line 7? Line 7. Alright. If. The thing inside the if needs to be enclosed by parens. Backwards is going to confuse the heck out of it. That looks pretty good. Okay, how we doing?
Yeah, here I read through the thing, so now I'm on error.
Yeah. S-T-I-R-N-G, yeah, that's probably misspelled. And that's line 2. Yeah, it's easy. I misspell things constantly.
I don't know.
Without the compiler,
How did I turn this sideways?
I don't know. Want to check?
Yep.
Let's see. Go to view.
It's going to be in the applet toolbar, not the browser.
You did something when I thought I was...
Just kill it and start it up.
Whatever works.
So how we doing? Input string undeclared.
First use in the function. So if I got input underscore string here, and then this is just input string, I don't need underscore here.
That is one of the bugs I put in the code. See what makes sense to you.
Oh,
Capitalized.
this is not right.
So, no ideas? So this
Well, I don't think that...
This comes back to one of the first things we learned, which was declaring variables. So, input underscore string is a different symbol than input string without the underscore. So, what would make sense to you to make this work?
Either take this one out or put it in here.
I mean, which one's less work?
Well, to leave it out, of course. So it's one less character.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
That makes sense to me.
Try that. See what happens. we're always for,
Input.
yeah, so this is one of my bugs. So it says line 7. So like any other program, it's extremely painful, yes, I know. Try grabbing just the edge instead of the corner. There you go.
Okay. Line 7. Undeclared. First grouping of function. Let me read another text. This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's saying you didn't declare it.
Okay. Here. Okay.
So you fixed that. Save it
Okay.
and recompile. So how'd it do?
Oh, better, but I still have errors.
Yes.
I'm thinking this STDIN 99 and there's 100 upstairs, so maybe this has to be STD.
No. So what's it say? Error, string undeclared here, not in a function. Line 15. So go to line 15 for me.
Incompatible implicit declaration.
Yes.
Not in
It's,
a function. So that's not.
it's not happy with string length. You've got standard I/O included twice.
Oh.
You want to probably have string.h be one of them. You can look up there.
Alright.
String.h.
Okay.
So, what the heck is this thing saying? Tell you what. Wait a sec until Karen gets to this level, and then I will discuss it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
String undeclared here, not in a function.
So, you're both at the same spot.
Okay.
It's saying that string is undeclared inside your function.
Yep.
What the heck? You know you declared it.
Alright.
So, huh?
It should be input string, not just string.
Nope.
It should be a number.
So, no, here's the thing. When we declare a function, up here, this guy, void capitalized, we end it with a semicolon, right?
Okay.
When we give the code for a function, like say main, we start it with a curly brace and end it with a curly brace. So when we did this guy, we screwed up and we didn't have a begin curly brace here. We've got a semicolon here because we kind of screwed up and we just copied this. So a function, just like main, the next thing after you do this, this has to be a begin curly brace. Try that.
That was my next thought.
No, this is a very insidious thing. This is tough. This is a horrible bug. Minus O, not minus 0.
It was funny because that's what I actually used through the other one, and it still did it.
Recognize option, minus O.
But, so
Minus
every time,
0,
but
yeah.
I did it wrong to begin with, and it still did it.
It still tried to
So,
compile, yeah.
yeah.
It tries hard. Okay, it's waiting for you to type something in. Type any old junk, like hi there, whatever you want. Aha! Type in some numbers, see what happens. Just numbers. Capitalized numbers are still just numbers. Okay, so it's capitalizing. Suppose yours capitalizing. Here's compile. Go ahead, run it.
Okay.
/capitalize.
So if I typed in 101 characters, it would,
See what happens.
Nothing?
Okay, it's waiting for you to type in a string.
Okay.
Any old
Anything?
string. Type in any old crap you want and hit return. use a capitalized version of it. Don't keep doing it. Yeah, I know, it's boring.
Okay.
But you learned a lot doing this. I hope.
That had to have been 100. I just wanted to, I don't know, it feels like at 100 I should blow it up.
Well, go ahead. Let's just...
You're counting?
No. I'm
Does
just
it-
going to make it something ridiculous.
And it will stop at 100?
No. It doesn't know anything.
Oh.
It's a dumb computer. We're just going to make this ridiculously long and
Okay,
see what happens.
We never told it to stop. We never
Ooh.
added the stop,
It still worked.
we never told it to end with the O.
Well, we never did. That's true.
Huh.
And, well, that seems kind of crazy, but let's see what happens. Okay, so, well, there's a few things worthy of discussion in this program. Things that are new.
What's the L?
This one,
Yep.
it's a variable that we declared as an integer, and we set it equal to the length of the string. The moment it came into the function, it set L to be that number. And then we used it in here so that we could loop through the whole string. But let's go through this one by one. So step number one, first thing that's new is this string.h thing here. So that is just like standard I.O. It contains the declarations for a bunch of functions that are related to strings, like string length. And to upper in this case. And so without it, you could try compiling without it. It won't be happy. It won't know what the heck these two functions are. And so it won't really want to compile for you. So string.h, if you're doing anything dealing with strings, you've got to make sure you include that. Another thing is our function. So our function in this case isn't returning a value. So we use the word void as the return type. That's kind of a strange word, but something they came up with, which means this function doesn't return a value. So capitalized, you'll notice, doesn't have a return statement anywhere in it, like at the bottom, like all our other functions have, because we're not returning anything. The other thing about capitalized, it's got this strange thing in here for declaring the parameter that we're sending to it. You know, remember in everything else we've done, we declare the type here to be whatever it is we need, like a real number, we call it float or double, and for an integer we say int. For character strings, we have this really strange notation. And one would think, if we're being logical, that you would take how this thing is being declared and you'd put it in here. So you'd have char string, say, 100. Just like we're declaring it here for this function. The problem with doing that is that then it will only take character strings that have 100 characters.
Period.
And we would like it to work with any number. So the guys that wrote C said, well, let's come up with something different to say, okay, it could be any length. So this little star here says that this, whatever it is a vector of whatever type this is. And it's of unknown length. And that's okay. So that way we can send in any old character string, any length, and it'll work. So it's a little strange, but that's what that star is for. It's a vector of characters in this case. So takes getting used to again. Weird stuff. Again, it's just programmers' way of trying to not type too much. They could have just said vector of characters string, but they decided character star for whatever reason. And it's just easier, less typing, but it's crazy. You've got to get used to it. Okay, so that's the first 3 lines. Then there's main, which has all kinds of crazy stuff going on. First, we put this underscore in, and being a pain. You get rid of that underscore, and now it's consistent with how you use it everywhere else, and it compiles. Then we have a while loop, which is reading our input and spewing the output. And inside this if statement here is where we're doing all the real work. So what the heck is this if statement? First, there's this function called fget that we're calling as the thing that the if statement is looking at, right? Instead of is like some number greater than or equal to some other number, we're asking it, does this function return true? Does this function returns a value, just like anything else returns a value. So if this function here returns 1, then the if statement says, okay, I'm going to execute, do something. If it doesn't return 1, then it doesn't execute. So just like any other if statement, except that it's a function that's computing whether we get a 1 or a 0, instead of us doing some kind of A greater than B kind of thing. So A greater than B is an example of how you can get a logical result, but you can also get a logical result by calling a function. So in this case, we're calling something called fgets. Fgets, in true C form, is an abbreviation for file get string. Because we're lazy, we hate typing. We really hate typing. So that's what that means. File get string. So it's a function that takes three parameters as inputs. So this is a string, as you know. So this string is a place for this function to put what it reads into. And this is a number that says how big this thing is, how many characters it can put in there before it goes too far. And you don't want to go too far. Which I don't understand the details. So we want to make sure it knows how long our string is, because we don't want it to try to put stuff beyond the end of the string. And that opens up a whole other can of worms, which we're not going to get into. But anyway, this is one less than this, because remember, we need a null. So this is how many characters it can put in, only 99. So we don't count the null. Then the last parameter is where to read the data from. And this is a C symbol defined in standard I/O, which says read from the command input. So read from the terminal. It's short for standard input. Again, everything's short for something, right? So we hate typing. So this is the command line that you guys are used to using. So that's why it works. You type something in, hit ready. So all this thing does is it reads an entire line that you typed. And notice you had to hit character term for it to actually work, because you didn't have an entire line until you hit that character term. So once you hit that, it read it in, and it put whatever you typed